All right, time now for our business update. I'm joined here by Brian Quinn, starting with some major trade developments between the United States and Vietnam.
Yeah, that's right. President Donald Trump welcomed Vietnam's prime minister to the White House Wednesday, where Trump made sure to emphasize new business transactions between the nations worth billions. The U.S. Commerce Department has announced more than a dozen new deals worth around $8 billion. That's expected to support over 23,000 American jobs. General Electric and Caterpillar are among the U.S. firms that will supply Vietnam with power generation equipment, aircraft engines, and services. Now, Vietnam has gone from an enemy of the U.S. during the Cold War to a significant trading partner. But a major trade deficit in Vietnam's favor has only been growing lately, reaching $32 billion last year. And while hailing the deals, that fact did not escape Trump's notice.
We have a major trade deficit with Vietnam, which will hopefully balance out in the short period of time. We expect to be able to do that. They've just made a very large order in the United States, and we appreciate that, for many billions of dollars, which means jobs for the United States and great equipment for Vietnam.
Now to France, where the new president has made his first official domestic visit in support of an iconic shipyard in western France.
Well, the sale of that shipyard in Nazaire to an Italian shipbuilding company appeared to have been finalized last month, but that deal was made under the previous government. New French President Emmanuel Macron said he wants that agreement reviewed. Martin Pollard reports.
Prevent jobs at this iconic shipyard from going to Italy. That's why the French president says there'll be a renegotiation of a deal that many thought was settled.
To preserve our industrial sovereignty, the know-how of the company STX France and its shipyards, and to guarantee jobs as well as the concerns of the regional economy.
The Italian state-owned shipbuilding giant Fincantieri only recently signed a deal to pay nearly 80 million euros to buy a 67% share in STX France from its current South Korean parent company. Fincantieri pledged to keep jobs at the site in Saint-Nazaire, which employs 2,600 people and supports an additional 5,000 subcontracting posts. The deal was given the blessing of the socialist government of former Prime Minister Manuel Valls, but unions and local officials were dubious, so they've welcomed Macron's review.
I've always stayed loyal to my objectives. That is that Fincantieri, which is a competitor, shouldn't have more than a 50% stake in the shipyard. This would act as a guarantee for the Saint-Nazaire site.
We think that the Italian government wants to get this company to move our shipbuilding to Italy.
Now, Macron says Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire will be tasked with negotiating a new shareholding structure for the sale. This will happen in the coming weeks.
Time to check in on the markets. How are things looking this morning?
Asian indexes mixed Thursday following a dip on Wall Street in Wednesday trading. China strengthening the value of the yuan. The two main indexes there heading in opposite directions, though, with the Hang Seng up by a few tenths, but the Shanghai Composite dropping a bit. The Nikkei in Japan jumping over 1% on strong capital spending and profit data. Korea's Kospi reversing some earlier gains to dip into the red. Well, let's take a look at some more of today's business headlines. The parent company of Brazil's largest meatpacking company has been hit with a record fine for corruption. J&F Investimentos, which owns the majority of meatpacker JBS, has agreed to pay the equivalent of $3.2 billion for its role in Brazil's ongoing bribery and corruption scandals. J&F is at the heart of the crisis threatening to topple Brazilian President Michel Temer. The company will have 25 years to complete payments on the fine. Social media firms are stepping up their efforts to remove hate speech from their platforms in the EU. Pressure from European regulators over racist and xenophobic content on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube have led the companies to remove more of such content at a quickened pace, according to a report by the European Commission. Notifications of hate speech resulted in content removal in nearly 60% of cases recently, compared with less than 30% last December. And British Airways corporate parent IAG is launching the first flight of its new long-haul budget airline. Level is flying from Barcelona to Los Angeles Thursday, with flights to San Francisco, Buenos Aires, and other cities to be rolled out in the coming weeks. Fares start at just over €100 each way and went on sale in March. Level said it sold 10,000 tickets in the first month.
And finally, for business, some good news for French drivers, possibly in the works today.
Well, those drivers keeping their fingers crossed for an end to a week-long fuel truck drivers' strike that's left many gas stations around the country high and dry. Transport union spent 2 hours on Wednesday in talks with the transport minister, with France's powerful CGT union saying progress had been made and that the strike could be wound down by the weekend. At issue are working conditions for drivers tasked with transporting hazardous substances. CGT is pushing for a maximum working day of 10 hours. There are some major lines at the gas stations around Paris, I've noticed at least.
Saw them coming in as well. Let's hope it comes to an end now. Brian Quinn with a roundup of the business news. More headlines coming up in just a moment.